Alright, so every time I do a live stream, everyone's like, Josh, there's this cool company that reached out to me. They're called Revature. They say that all I need is a degree and they'll train me and they'll give me a job. And I'm like, I probably wouldn't go there. And they're like, why is that? And that's what I want to talk about today. I'm going to try to be as objective as possible about this. I want to show you what I've found during my research, and then I'm going to call them later on in this video to clarify questions that I personally have. If you don't know what Revature is, they're a company that markets towards new college graduates and says, hey, if you come train with us for 10 weeks, we'll pay you while you do it, and then we'll give you a job and you can get your foot in the IT industry and you can get started that way. But there's a whole lot of, There's a whole lot of strings attached to this that they don't really talk about. It seems nice, it sounds nice in theory. The first thing I want to show you is the Indeed page and some Indeed reviews of Revature. They have 5,200 jobs posted. You can go on Indeed and you can type in entry-level developer, and in almost any city in the United States, Revature will come up. Everyone that's graduating is Googling entry-level, junior-level, intern, whatever, and they know that, and so they're titling all their jobs as entry-level and entry-level, junior-level, front-end developer, junior-level, entry-level, not in parentheses, so they're A/B testing all of their job titles to get the maximum amount of clicks. It's not an actual job. You have to go to Revature first for 10 weeks to get training, and then you might get that job. You might be a front-end developer. You might be a junior-level CSS, HTML developer. Really? The requirements of all of these jobs are so simple that when someone just out of college looks, they're like, oh, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. See, what we are looking for: college degree, associate's, bachelor's, a natural problem solver, strong communication and interpersonal skills. It's just kind of like, there's nothing about code in a job post for code. Let's look at some of the questions and answers, because I was pretty surprised. One of the questions in here is, how much is the starting pay? And you'll see that it's $8 an hour for 10 weeks. You also have to relocate to where they're doing the training for 10 weeks. And then after the 10 weeks is over, it's not guaranteed that you'll be placed right after the 10 weeks. And you can't just be like, oh, well, I'll go get my own job, because you sign a contract for 2 years and they can send you anywhere in the United States that they want. If you don't want to do that, you have to break the contract, and it's going to cost $35,000. The reviews from last year in 2019 say that breaking the contract is $20,000, and the reviews from this year all say that the contract has been upped $15,000. So they're valuing their 10 weeks of training and then placing you at a job that you may or may not want at $35,000. That's a really, really expensive boot camp, but they don't call themselves a boot camp. I mean, most boot camps are 12 weeks. Like minimum. I've never seen one that's 10 weeks long. That's pretty short. Like, what can you even learn in 10 weeks long? Is it mandatory to relocate? Yes. You have no say in where you will be relocated. They provide minimal money for relocation. Good luck flying across the country, paying for an apartment and a security deposit, all with a $500 advance. That's not relocation expenses. That's a loan. You have to pay that back when you get your paycheck. Here's a review from Indeed. Last resort only. Revature will train you and hold that training over your head until you're done with the contract. $20,000 to breach, which one of my roommates ended up paying to take another job. I had to move 3 times across many states. They gave $500 for 2 of these moves and a $500 advance for 1. So he has to pay that back. You have no choice in where you land or with what company you end up with. Work culture under the client and Revature was toxic, and you are paid far below industry standard. They cut benefits and salary to you at every chance. I feel like 2 years of my life were hijacked, and I regret ever signing on. I've never heard of a job lowering your salary. I've heard of jobs not giving you a salary raise. Company that locks new grads in predatory contract. I did 2 years. You're locked in a 2-year contract where you're paid $50,000 a year with no ability to negotiate a higher salary. You have no say on when and where or whom you're placed with. If you quit your contract, they can come after you for $20K for their boot camp training. The training lasts 10 weeks and is largely self-taught. Most of the trainers are former software developers with no teaching experience. You can literally be placed in a lead developer position or a non-software role for 2 years and just have to tough it out for 2 years. I want to talk about the $500 relocation thing, as that is a pretty big problem. Generally, if you haven't had a job or an apartment on your own before, you have to put first month's and last month's payment down before you can get the lease, and a security deposit usually, but it depends on your credit rating. $500 is not enough to relocate. $500 is not enough gas. $500 is definitely not enough for first and last month's rent. Let's say you do relocate and you get a job. That job can end and you're still stuck being with Revature, and you get put back down to $8 an hour while you wait for them to place you to another place, which could be across the country or could be where you're at. You have no idea, but you can't go and get another job on your own. You can't look for other jobs that pay you more. You can't look for other jobs that keep you in the same area so that you can keep paying your house and keep your house and you don't have to sell it all of a sudden and leave. You can't do that. You just have to stay with Revature and make $8 an hour while they place you somewhere else. And if you don't want to do that, you have to pay the contract break fee, which is $35,000. That is insane. That is so much money. So I hope that you haven't had a family. I hope that you haven't taken out a mortgage that you have to pay on. I hope that you haven't gotten a new car, things that normal new grads do when they get their first job out of college. They want to experience what it's like, and they spend their money finally not driving a trash car, getting their own place, getting a house, maybe starting a family. And you can't do that really with Revature because $8 an hour is probably not going to make up for all of those bills. One other thing I noticed when I was looking at their website is that it's built with WordPress. And now I don't know if it's just me, but if you're going to be a development bootcamp training area, then you should probably, build your own website or have the students do it. That's what some boot camps do. But they built theirs with WordPress, and it's not responsive. As you can see on my page right now, this is a 1440p monitor, and this image does not stretch all the way across, like at all. If I zoom out more to make it 4K, which would be 50%, this is what it looks like. That seems a little bit unprofessional to me, and this is like their main website. Like, at least use Squarespace or Wix or Webflow or something to drag and drop this together. WordPress is supposed to be pretty easy already though. I tried to find some good reviews so that I could mix it up a little bit and so that this video wouldn't seem super biased. So here is a good review that was left just a few days ago. This is a great place to work. It fulfills what it promises. It is amazing. Everything is awesome. Everyone is great. With an E on the end. Nothing is bad. No one treats you bad. I don't know why you would say that unless there have been claims of people being treated bad. This seems a little fake to me, but I can't prove that. Just seems a little odd. The best thing about the training program is that you learn the latest technologies in just 10 weeks. You have mock interviews every week, which helps you to practice. You learn Java, SQL, Hibernate, Spring AWS, and so on. I don't know if it's just me, but a lot of people have trouble with just learning Java in 10 weeks. And you're supposed to learn everything in 10 weeks and do mock interviews and have projects. That just doesn't seem doable or realistic in my opinion. Here's a negative review that I found, which had a odd response from Revature. Been with the client for 2 years, pay was decreased twice. Since I've been with the client, despite stellar performance reviews, PTO was cut by more than half because it's what the employees wanted. So again, I've never been at a job where they've decreased my salary, ever. That would be grounds for me leaving. How are you supposed to get a house because they base you getting a loan for that house on a salary, and you base your ability to live on getting that salary? Another thing, PTO was cut by more than half because it's what the employees wanted. I don't think I've ever heard people complain about having too much PTO. Who would complain about having too much vacation? Reaching out to HR for help with these issues results in either no response or this is our policy. It's become clear that Revature does not care at all for their employees. Here's their response, which I thought was really strange. We appreciate your feedback and would like to speak with you in more detail to understand what happened. It has never been our policy to decrease pay, and we've recently increased our PTO as a result of our employees' feedback. They say we've never decreased pay here, but they don't say we've never decreased PTO. I imagine what this is saying is we decreased it, and then we listened to our employees and put it back to where it was. It's like when Steam sales happen and the prices of games go up and then it says 65% off and then it's back down at the original price and you think that's a good deal. Another page I want to show you really quick is the LinkedIn version of Revature. They have 30,000 jobs posted. Atlanta, Seattle, Chicago, all of the major cities across the US. And on top of that, they also have positions in the middle of nowhere in the US. They're pretty smart with their marketing, honestly. So I'm going to call them and I'm going to ask them about the $35,000 amount for the 2-year contract because I want to know if it's prorated, which means if you work there for a year, you wouldn't have to pay $35,000 back. You'd only have to pay half of that. If you work there for, almost 2 years, then you just have to pay a little bit back. But I couldn't find any information about that. Does that mean if I'm 30 days away from the 2-year contract and I quit, do I have to pay all of it back still, even though I'm 30 days away? I don't know. Couldn't find any information about it. I'm going to call them up from their contact page. Hopefully they answer.
Thanks for calling Revature. This call may be monitored for quality and training purposes. You will be connected to a representative shortly. Please hold on. Please leave a message after the tone. We will get back to you as soon as we can.
All right, so they didn't answer that phone number. I'm going to call the other phone number and see if they answer that.
This number is not in use. Thank you for calling.
Okay, so I don't know if you heard that, but it said this number is not in use. And I'll put a thing up on the screen and you can see that number. Call that number if you don't believe me. But maybe I dialed it wrong. Let's dial it again.
This number is not in use. Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
All right, so they have a phone number posted on their main website, and it is not in use. So if you watch this video, Revature, you should probably fix that. That's probably a big indicator of, it's going to raise some red flags there. And then the fact that you didn't answer the main phone number either is also kind of a red flag. Oh, here's a phone number. Is this the same phone number that I called previously? Let me look at my phone. All right, so this phone number right here on the FAQ page is different from the phone numbers that they have on their contact page. Hold on, I'm going to call this number.
Thanks for calling Revature. One of our agents will be with you shortly. Your call may be recorded for quality and monitoring purposes.
Hey, yours will too.
Thank you for calling Revature. All our agents are busy assisting other candidates. We would love to talk to you soon. If you would like to receive a call back from the next available agent, please press 1. If you would like to leave a voice message with your name, number, and requested callback time, please press 2.
So before we end this video, I figured we would look at some more of the negative reviews. You paid housing, relocation is a joke. They don't pay you for holidays, even if the contractor's paying it. No paid holidays. PTO doesn't start for 6 months from the start of your assignment date. Here's a big one right here. Revature will not pay for you to break a lease on an apartment. Revature can switch you to another technology that you have never used. They have different technologies you may be applying for, but they will put you into a group that needs to be filled. I applied for a Java position, but they put me into a .NET C# group the day I arrived on site. They said the Java group was full and they needed to fill up the other class. Also, they won't show you the terms of the contract till the day before, the option day, so they give you very little time to make a choice. So you have to relocate to one of a few training areas that Revature offers, and then you sign the contract. The details in the contract make it very clear that you're handing over a lot of your rights as an employee and putting yourself into a very subservient position to the company and or its clients. Packed corporate housing apartments are 1 to 2 stars at best. 6 people in a 3-bedroom apartment is very tight. If you don't mind living with little to no privacy, then it won't matter to you. I hope that you don't have a family if you want to do this. Management is very reluctant to answer tough questions. You can see it on their faces as they talk to you as they're trying to rephrase it so you don't run out the door. So I don't want to be like, this is trash, this is garbage. I'm not going to say everything that those people on the internet say. I'm just going to say, when would you do Revature? And let's try to be pragmatic and let's try to be realistic about it. I would say Revature would work for you if you think that 10 weeks is enough for you to learn all of those technologies. Revature would work for you if you don't care what technology you're learning. Revature would work for you if you don't care about living in cramped corporate housing. Revature would work for you if you don't care about making $8 an hour for 10 weeks. Revature would work for you if you're okay with not having any control over what you make for 2 years. Revature would work for you if you're young and single and don't have anything to tie you down. Revature would work for you if your management of money is perfect and you maintain an ultra low cost of living and you always have savings, as $8 an hour is not enough for you to live. And if you can manage to do all those things, or you don't care about any of that, then yeah, all right, Revature will work for you. But at that point, anything would work for you, really. Anyways, that's this video, guys. I hope it's been informative. Do your own research. Call the numbers I tried to call. They didn't answer me. I'm not trying to be biased. We're just trying to be pragmatic about it. All right, if you enjoyed it, hit subscribe, hit like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I have some links down in the description if you'd like to support the channel. Go check out my other channel, Grind Reel. I'm going to be starting to post videos about how to build a personal brand and escape this corporate garbage with media like I did, if you're interested. Anyways, I'll link that down there too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.